The gripping case we've been tracking, the Utah doctor on trial for murdering his wife, and yesterday, the most emotional testimony yet when the doctor's oldest daughter took the stand to testify against him. ABC's Aditi Roy has all the latest.
Do you recognize this man sitting right here?
Yes.
With the blue tie?
Yes.
Who is he?
It's my father.
Rachel MacNeill began her tearful testimony against her own father, speaking barely above a whisper.
Growing up, my father was my best friend.
Now she believes the man sitting across the court from her Thursday killed her mother.
He specifically said to me that he was concerned that there'd be a police investigation, that he didn't want anyone to think that he murdered my mother. It was so shocking to me. I said, why? Why would anybody think that?
Martin MacNeill appeared emotional during his eldest daughter's testimony. He insists he's innocent. His attorneys say Michelle MacNeill died from a heart disorder in April of 2007. But prosecutors say the former Utah physician gave his wife a fatal dose of painkillers while she was recovering from a facelift, one they say he insisted she have. The alleged motive? An affair. Rachel told jurors her father's purported mistress became their live-in nanny shortly after her mother's death.
My dad was cooking. She was sitting there staring at my dad, things like that. I mean, the children were taking care of themselves.
During cross-examination, MacNeill's attorneys tried to point out inconsistencies in her testimony.
You never said anything to Doug Whitney about your dad joking about being single at the luncheon, did you?
Again, I don't recall.
And questioned her mental health.
And you've been diagnosed bipolar?
Have I in my lifetime been diagnosed as bipolar? Yes.
Rachel's sister Alexis testified in a closed jury hearing over whether the youngest MacNeill, 12-year-old Ada, should take the stand. She was only 6 when she discovered her mother unconscious in the tub.
I never have allowed her to be interviewed. I've never allowed her to watch any of the media, television, newspaper. I was concerned. I didn't want to make sure that she was tainted in any way.
Today, the judge will decide whether Ada will be able to tell the jury what she saw the night her family was torn apart. For Good Morning America, Aditi Roy, ABC News, Los Angeles.
So Aditi for that. Now let's bring in ABC Chief Legal Affairs anchor Dan Abrams. Pretty devastating testimony.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have this woman talking about everything that her father did and said immediately after her mother died, which leads to all these questions, meaning this daughter didn't suspect her father. The other daughter did. This daughter, when this happens, is thinking, there's no way that my father could have been involved. And so when he starts talking about things like, well, we need to get an autopsy immediately, she also pointed out that he gave her $5,000 in cash, which he'd never given her before, and she was thinking, why is he doing this, etc. So very powerful.
But his lawyers, boy, they didn't give an inch on cross-examination.
Well, they have to, right? I mean, if you view her as a really important witness, which she is, they have to go after her. I mean, from their perspective, she's lying, right? From their perspective, she's not giving a truthful account. So they had to go after her, but it creates a very awkward situation where you've got this woman who seems so emotional, and then his lawyers have to basically say, A, you're not telling the truth, and B, you've got a history of mental illness.
And the judge has to make a pretty big decision today, whether to allow that 12-year-old daughter, Ada, to actually testify she's the one who found her mother's body.
About what happened when she was 6. I think the judge is going to let in the testimony. There are going to be certain restrictions, but it's pretty clear the judge is going to allow it. Boy, these lawyers are going to have to be careful.
Yeah, how do you do cross-examination on
You're talking a
12-year-old?
12-year-old, they're going to have to do it with very, very kid gloves, so to speak. Very gingerly. They're going to have to be tender. They can't go after her. And I think that what they're going to have to do is call in other witnesses primarily to say, she's got, there could be memory problems here, memory experts, things about someone this age, etc. They don't want to push her too much.
Okay. Dan Abrams, thanks very much.